So it's about 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday, and it doesn't seem like we'll be getting an update for RDO. It looks like we got a new collectibles list or some other dumb shit, but like literally it's not even a drip feed Tuesday, and the irony of that being that I never liked drip feed. I felt like they did a shitty job. I don't feel like clothing is content, but the argument that people make is that at least people like clothing and it's something new and da-da-da-da-da-da. So people get used to this shitty drip feed Tuesdays where they expect kind of like a skin or something kind of new and like a new clothing or something like something interesting that you could just literally pluck from the game and give them. And then when you don't get literally anything, it's just like, why? Like, how how is this a new game? This doesn't like it's got all the intentions or the hopes to try to kind of give you that MMO experience, but it lacks the depth. But anyways, I'm wildly off topic and complaining, but it was a shitty Tuesday and we haven't got anything. And it's a double-edged sword because I wanted to speculate on who I thought the new legendary bounty for today would be. And since it's nobody, I would have been wrong. However, I can still take this time to speculate, and that's what I'm doing today. So, after making a video about all the new multi-target bounties and uploading it to my channel, I noticed that the 7th generation cult is actually referenced in the wanted posters you can find in Valentine. You learn about Alan, De La Mare, and Fitch, wanted for the corruption of youth throughout the Heartlands region and in connection with several missing persons. Although these highly charismatic individuals are not independent actors, the link between them is, as yet, poorly documented. The same cannot be said for their fervor and cunning. So I went through these missions and did them all, and you get to see the cult. Like, you see the uniforms, you see the markings on the forehead, you see the sashes, and it's cool, it's stylish. It lacks a little bit of depth in my mind because they don't really drop anything new, but it's your first real taste at what's coming. You actually get to do the legendary bounty with like the cult leader, if you will. It actually feels like it's more earned. So I'm hopeful or optimistic they might be following the same logic with some of the other bounties, which is why after looking through all of them, I've come up with my list of suspicions as to who we might see next. My hypothesis is that, like the 7th generation, we'll be chasing the lackeys and ultimately capturing the bosses through a legendary bounty. So working with that mindset, I eliminated all the gangs that don't allude to a specific person of interest or a leader and broke it down to these potential choices. All of these, however, are going to depend on the idea that I haven't actually done all of these missions yet, so I don't know how many of these quote-unquote leaders are in the group that you bring in versus if it's just the name of the band. So, obviously, in any instance in which you find the leader of the group in that party or section, then you know for sure it's not going to be a legendary bounty in the future. But the four most likely candidates, in my opinion, or five, excuse me, are Addison Y, Thaddeus Walter, Bartholomew Brown, Theodore Xavier, and Tobin Anderson. Those are the 5 characters of the 13 bounties referenced by name that may or may not actually appear in the bounties. So with Addison Y, he's the leader of the group of jailbreakers from wardens from Sisika. Thaddeus Walter's men are the dandy gamblers trying to flee the country. Bartholomew Brown's gentlemen are like cutthroats masquerading as gentlemen. Theodore Xavier is the leader of that hunting party and could potentially be wanted by Harriet, so maybe that's a reference to an expansion with the Naturalist, not that anybody wants that, or it's just kind of another nod to a character. And finally, Tobin Anderson, the leader of the Wreckers. But again, that's a hypothesis built into the idea that if he's not among them, then we might be seeing him. But if he is one of the 3, then you can cancel that out. The only things working against me for this hypothesis are that Jinbo Finley and Lamuneka were not actually previous legendary missions, or rather not available in other bounty posters that alluded to them. However, Jinbo seems like he would fit in with either of Theodore's group or Bartholomew or Thaddeus's group. And while Lamuneka wasn't necessarily referenced, there are several missions where you take on like banditas, if you will, and there's like definitely a legendary bounty where you take down a girl in the southwest part of the map who's hiding out in the mines, as well as that being like a storyline mission later, I think, for when you're dealing with Los Lobos. So there's a lot of recycled stuff, and I'll be talking about that too. But again, as it stands, I think we're likely to see one of these as our next legendary bounty targets, and I'm curious what you guys think. So I won't take up any more of your time than that, but I wanted to share my thoughts.